welcome and welcome. Happy Monday. Happy first, next week. It's a brand new week. It's a fresh new start. And for me, I always take that opportunity to just restart, refresh. I know we have some of you joining on our backstage VIP area. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited today. We have Peter for our business Q&A panel calls. For those of you joining on Facebook, make sure that you sign up for www.hackmankind.com so you can always have backstage and VIP access to our calls and content. All right, Peter. So what's up with you today?
How you doing, Jess?
Amazing. I can't complain. Have you seen
I'm about to say, where are you?
I'm in Long Beach Island.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Yeah, my life doesn't quite look like that at the moment. Yeah, it's fantastic. And you have a good weekend?
I did, yes. So those who know our panelists on Friday, Sean Callaghy and Mona, his girlfriend, also were here and we're all hanging out. And also Shannon is staying for the weekend, Shannon O'Donnell. So we're all hanging out over the weekend. So that was a blessing before my long trip to Florida. For those who will be tuning in this week while I do the calls, I will be doing the calls, but I will be doing those from the road.
It's road trip with Hack Mankind.
So yes, I'm looking forward to this call, Peter, because you mentioned, a little teaser, we're going to be talking about how to meet people without really meeting them. But today's theme here at Hack Mankind, last week's theme was change. What's this week's theme and what does it mean for business, Peter?
I think this week is probably the most important, if not the most important week, certainly one of the most important weeks, and it certainly is for business as well. This week's theme is discipline. I used this morning, but when they asked Jesse Eisen, what was his top tricks for success, right? And this guy is, by any stretch of the imagination, a very, very successful man. He set up Marquis Jets. He sold that to Warren Buffett. He's a part owner in sports franchises. He has his own speaking lineups and engagements. He's married to Sarah Blakely from Spanx. I mean, you name it, this guy, from the outside, certainly is a very successful guy. And he said that his tips and tricks for success were habits, rituals, and discipline. The end, that's it. Thanks very much. And no matter how much people try to push him further, that was his answer. It's habits, rituals, and discipline. And I couldn't agree more. It's the discipline to continue through things, to apply yourself, to carry on applying yourself. And it can manifest in different ways and different words for people. Some people use grit, some people use hustle, but it's essentially carrying on doing the things you know to be right. Right? Carry on doing the things you know to be right. That's what discipline is. And this morning we spoke about the importance of a morning routine, how morning routines can impact your business, etc. But let's see if we can move that now into a business context, right? So we're going to try something new. We're going to try a bit of screen sharing, as we said, see how this goes. Because I was watching someone else's webinar the other day and I was like, that's really cool. I want to do that. So can you see that, Jess?
Yes, I can. I can see it well. Let me make sure that on our Facebook we can see it too. I know there's a little delay, so I will let you know if there's any. We can see it perfectly, and we have you on the top right corner as well with the screen. So it's perfect. Yay! Technology is on our side.
Right. Technology is on our side for now. So this is important for people to realize. We essentially have two choices. We're either expanding. I should probably put that in green, but hey, I'll learn. Or we're contracting. Now, when we're expanding, stuff is simple, right? Stuff is easy, and literally you will probably earn money, right? Because people are looking, in a point of expansion, people are looking to spend money. So people are literally looking for things to buy. People are looking for ways to spend their next paycheck. So they do silly things. Like they go and buy brand new iPhones, and they buy wonderful, nice, this is where we see how good a drawer I am, which is, by the way, not very good. And they buy cars, or they buy 2 cars, and then they want some houses. So they go and buy a couple of those as well. And then we get all of that stuff, right? My wife refers to it as Insta shopping, right? Where we buy the magic face cream that can guarantee to take bags off your eyes in 20 seconds. Hang on, there's a bit of face. That's eye cream, by the way. Hang on, eye cream. Hang on. Actually, that's not bad, is it? That does actually look like a thing. Fantastic. And then we'll buy the Dollar Shave Club. And then I'm just trying to draw my life here. And then we'll get the pet food subscription model. And you get my point. We're just going to carry on adding stuff. This is our DVD/Netflix. And of course, we want 2 terabytes of storage with iOS. Okay. So when people are literally throwing their money around, catching it is as simple as being in the right place at the right time. You really don't have to do much if everyone's throwing money around. Yeah. If you can't, in a growth economy, if you can't make a million, you're probably doing it wrong.
So just to clarify, you were talking about expansion and contraction, and we were talking, and here this is for those who are just joining us on Facebook. Here we were talking about when people are more in a state of expansion, correct?
Yeah. So 2012 to 2019, everything expanded. Every economy is growing by huge amounts on a continuous basis. Everybody's nice and happy. Now, a lot of people are focusing on COVID as the single point that led to this huge contraction that we're now seeing. But it isn't really very, very true. And the reason that it's not true is there is this thing called the economic clock. Okay. This is our clock. Right. And the economic clock, just like a real clock, goes round. And when the economic clock goes round, it goes through several defined steps, Jason. I'm not an expert on this. I'm not an economist, so I'm not going to try and teach this. But essentially, you know where you are in the economic clock by what's happening in the market. So you start with, it's essentially, where's house prices, where's the stock markets, etc. And when you go through the economic clock, you are due a crash, right? You are due a crash/correction. So a crash is obviously bad. Correction is not so bad. Above a crash, slightly worse, would be a recession. Worse than that still would be a depression. Okay. Each time we go through this phase, the thing that worries people is that these are getting bigger. So our growth gets bigger, but our contractions also get bigger. And it's whether the market can handle these contractions. So we had one in 2012, 2018, we had one in 2001, 2002, and they always take some form of external stimulus to kick them off. So something will happen that causes a ripple to go out throughout the world. So that might be, it might be Brexit, it might be a political event in the US, it might be an oil price, it might be Britain leaving the ERM, the economic theme mechanism, or it could be the real estate that we saw last time. All you need to know about all of this is, and this is a phrase that you see in the personal development world, or we were seeing, it's now true.
For winter is here, or is it still coming?
And that's the problem. Now it's here. This is winter. This is it. This is as bad as it gets. If you're running a business now, it's not going to get worse. That's the good news. It's not going to get worse the next 10 years. We'll go back to spring and summer and autumn. It's an inevitable cycle. So it is a cycle. It is inevitable. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't necessarily focus on, even though we talk about it quite regularly. 3, and this is the important one, there is more opportunity now than there ever was and might ever be again in your life. Okay, so for anyone listening to this, there is more opportunity now than there ever was and probably ever will be in your life, to the extent where I feel like I should color in these letters. Opportunity, see? Opportunity. Hey, it's good. That doesn't look too bad. Now, why is that? Here is the basis of how you make money. Right? How you make money in this world is you buy something or you make something and you sell something. I really hope this isn't teaching anybody anything so far. Because if you don't know that, this is probably not the right Q&A for you. But here's the trick to it. The key is to buy it or make it for less than you sell it for. Ta-da! This is how we make money. We buy something for 10 cents and we sell it for $3. So we made, again, hope I'm not teaching anyone anything here, $2.90. So why does this all link back? Recession / depression equals underpriced assets. Okay, so the thing that somebody just bought, let's take an example. Let's say they bought a really fancy industrial photocopier. And they bought that photocopier for $5,000. It's a really good copier. If this company's business plan wasn't solid, that photocopier is now for sale. But that photocopier is now for sale at probably $1,000. So if you went and bought a photocopier 3 months ago, you'd have paid $5,000, you're now going to pay $1,000 for the same thing. And this type of number, like 20%, is when we start talking about the phrase pennies on the dollar. And the more we live in here, the more we live in the world of depression versus recession, the bigger this discount is going to get. Okay? So the key thing in this space is as follows. Stay in the game. If you sell now, if you sell your assets, if you sell your business, if you sell your product now, you will be selling at that 1,000 instead of 5,000 world. If you sell your building, if you sell your fleet of comedy cars, if you sell your computers, i.e. if you close down, you are literally going to get nothing for that money. So you need to stay in the game, and staying in the game will get you through to the other side and allow you to start buying these things. Now, when I say buying things, Jess, I don't just mean buildings. And I'm going to try and do a van this time because I think I might be better at vans. I think I'm a bit better at vans than I am at houses. I don't just mean computers. I also mean the important piece. I mean people. People are the key, still, fortunately, to business. Your relationships with those people are key to your business. And you have to reach those people, or you have to invest in those relationships for it to work. And what you did over the last 7 years, probably, if you're being honest, you ignored them. Because the amount of people that were coming in to your business, because we're growing, is far more than the people leaving your business. It's very rare to find people that focus more here, i.e., how do I not lose people, than it is to focus here. Okay, Jess, I mean, you tell me honestly, you've worked in this space. Which word did you hear more often at work?
Acquisition, for sure. And
For
it's
sure.
like the people. It's acquisition of, you know, products, adding things to the bag, buying even other companies. It was always like adding. Yeah, 100%.
It's 100%, yeah? Everybody is so focused on this. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't focus on this. I'm not saying don't focus on acquisition. But I'm saying that if you focus a little bit more on retention, then you don't need to acquire so much. Right? The aim of this is simply to make sure that this number up here is bigger than this number down here. If you acquire more customers than you, wow, see, look at that, it's brilliant. If you acquire more customers than you retain, than you lose, you end up with a growth of customers, right? You can either acquire 10 and lose 4 and you have 6, or you can lose 1 and acquire 7 and you have the same number at the end of the day.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense, right? And especially on paper. And I think for those watching, like, my burning question would be like, okay, this is great. I would like to not sell my computers, not sell the fleet of cars that I have, not sell the printers that, you know, that cost me 5,000 3 months ago, and now I feel market value is like 1,000, if that. Then my would be, I would do that, but how do I do it? Because right now businesses are closed. Things are closed. Things are not operating. Things, you know, certain businesses are not being able to focus on retention, and they're selling. So what's the alternative? What's your recommendation on that? How do we do this?
Well, I want to challenge something you just said before I answer it. You said businesses are closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some. If you look at restaurants, if you look at, you know, I went to the grocery store yesterday with Shannon, and right next to it, there was this really cute, you know, like things that, I mean, we really like it, like vintage store with these cute little dresses and like things for decoration, home decor and stuff like that. And I know what you're probably going to say is like sell online and have it delivered. And there is way to pivot, but that's, I mean, that's my ideas, but what are yours? Like if people, I'm sure people are saying, okay, this is great on paper, but how do I do it? I'm hemorrhaging money. I can't pay my staff. I need to sell my stuff so that I can survive. If they can survive, some people are closing down.
So first of all, not everyone will make it. That's inevitable, and that's going to come down to whether you actually listened to all of these wonderful people over the last X amount of years that were telling you needed to get your business online. So there's a tiny part of me as a guy that is in that space that goes, well, you didn't listen for 10 years, so yeah, do you deserve to be saved? You know, Toys R Us did not listen. Blockbuster did not listen. Eventually a market will move on, but that's a little bit harsh for people out here, so let's not go there, because if you tuned in now, okay, I'll forgive you because you at least you woke up to it at some point. But Jess, the first thing is, and I know, and I'm not just being facetious, the first thing is to realize the sentence you said is not true, right? Businesses are not closed. They do not have the ability to do one crucial thing, which is a physical proximity transaction. I'm not saying that isn't kind of important, because my whole point earlier was you buy something for that price, you sell it for that price, and that difference is how you make your money. Okay? So I get that. I'm not saying that that isn't important, but it isn't the only thing. So the first thing I would ask people to do is I would ask them to do something that we used to refer to as, you know, as follows. I think we used to call it a business block map. Okay, so this is acquire. This, and I am a digital guy, so I use digital terminology. This is engage, and this is retain. And then let's add this one in as well, so the fourth one in, and let's do virility. Okay, and then this one down here, I'm going to boringly call admin and support. So let's go through some of these and see if we can write some things down. If I was I had this conversation the other day, I had it with a chiropractor. If I was a chiropractor, I would be saying that in here, you should be contacting every customer from the last 2 years. Every customer. So you can't see them, you can't make an adjustment, but you can phone them. You can ask them how they're doing. You can say, you know, it's I've got some time on my hands, so I thought I'd give you a call and see how you are. You could call 100 customers a day. You could call 50 customers a day. And you could literally call through every single customer that you've dealt with and ask them how they are. And you could get them on a Zoom call. I'm not suggesting you charge them at this point. You get them on a Zoom call, ask them how they are. If they say they're in pain, ask them to do a movement so that they can see it, and give them recommended exercises and suggest that they come and book in an appointment for you. as soon as the quarantine and lockdowns ended, because it has to end, it will end. And if you do that as a chiropractor, I would think that you're going to do 400% of the business you did last year. I would literally think you're about to do 400%. If you were to call every single customer, I've been to 3 chiropractors in the last year. Not one of them have ever called me and say, "Hey, how's things going? Did it work for you? Do you want to come back and see me? Is everything okay?" Right. And this is what I said about you forget to retain your customers, you ignore them. Because as long as you're acquiring more in than you're retaining out the other side, business is going up, everything's going great. But you don't actually form a true relationship with them. And the people that are thriving now are the people with true relationships. Because with limited amount of money in your pocket, Jess, in my pocket, we then start reevaluating the decisions we make. And when we reevaluate the decisions we make, the level of emotional engagement we have with somebody is massive. Let's say that I was asked the other day how I would do this if I was a hotel. If I was a hotel, I would pull money from the future into the present. And what does that mean? So if you're a hotel, you say you're a small hotel in New York, you're an independent hotel, you're a 4-star hotel, I would call every business within New York's different, within an X mile radius of that hotel. And I would say, listen, we know that when this reopens, you're going to be doing corporate travel. We know that you're going to need, people are going to visit, you're going to need rooms. So we will pre-sell you those rooms now for 20% of what you would buy them for from us in 3 months' time. Now, Jess, what's the cost of a hotel room in New York in prime time?
And during the quarantine or normally?
Normally.
Oh, hundreds of dollars.
Like $500 for a crappy 3-star hotel, yeah? Yeah. I would be selling that right now for $100 a night, $80 a night, but in credits, right? Not stay now, but you stay anywhere in the next year. If you buy 100 room nights from me, I'll sell you those 100 room nights for $80. Right? And hotels have done this for years. Hotels constantly sell 20% of their inventory to like airlines. That's so that they cover their costs before they start adding on tourism money on top.
And they even have contract, like group rates, contracted rates for a certain company. So big chains, for example, if you work for a large company, every time you're traveling, you're either staying in one chain or one type of hotel because they have corporate rates. And same with car rental companies. And I have a background in hospitality management, so that's why I kind of know a little bit about it. And you do too, actually, Peter. And that's so true. And we can translate that for other services. You can have even the chiropractor, you can have all of those pre-book those sessions with you and have, or have an agreement saying that even when if things come back, even if they haven't paid you, they have an agreement with you that they will come to you at a reduced rate. So they will always come to you. They won't go somewhere else.
Now, here's where that gets kind of fun, Jess. Every time you pull that money forward into a contract, so if you sign a contract with someone that they commit to X, Y, Z worth of expenditure, the contract itself has value, right? So now if we've got enough of these, we now go and speak.
You probably can borrow now.
Now we go and speak to our bank manager. Exactly. And we say, hey, Mr. Bank Manager, I've got $1 million of guaranteed business next year. I just need to stay alive long enough to get to it. Can I borrow some money, please? They go, sure. How much do you want? You go, 200K. And they go, great. And you say, what's the interest rate for that? Now, I don't know about you guys at the moment in the States, but in the UK, we're looking at numbers, interest rates, like here. We're looking at dirt cheap money, which you couldn't have got last year or the year before that. Because everybody's making money. This is federally assisted. The governments around the world are making sure that it is insanely cheap for you to borrow money right now. Because they want you to stay in business. But you have to be viable. So what have we just done? All we've done is we've contacted every customer in the last 2 years. 1, contact your customers. 2, we have put together an unbeatable offer for them. Now, yes, a lot of them are going to say no, because a lot of them are going to be as hard up as you are. But you don't need many to say yes before you start this rolling. When you say, listen, we know that if you stay in business, we know you're going to need hotel rooms. And if you don't stay in business, why do you care if you sign the contract? So who cares? Either way, you're pre-buying a discount effectively by signing a commitment for $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million. And then 3, we're bringing that forward to go and borrow some money. So we have now stayed in the game. We have brought our customers in. Every single one of these that you contact that didn't pre-sign are still going to come back and see you because you've actually established a genuine relationship with them. I'm not saying this works for everybody. I'm not, but this is one way that people just need to start being super creative. And I mean super creative. Every restaurant is a delivery business, so every restaurant is open. Aside from places that don't have the ability to do food delivery, which I don't know of anywhere that isn't doing food delivery at the moment. I'm sure there are some, but I certainly don't know them. So this is kind of one big tactic that I had, where you talk about just calling your customers, pull your money forward, and then borrowing it on the short term.
So we have a question coming in, Peter, and before we go to the next step, if that's okay, we have one of our VIP attendees on the backstage area saying, everyone I approach becomes really defensive when I'm trying to tell them about how great my products are. They all say, I don't have that kind of money. It is for their health though. So what am I doing wrong?
Oh, that's a bit hard to get into in a generalization. I would say that going down this list, you can't sell anything without rapport. So you need emotional rapport. I would suggest that you look at sales training, by the sounds of it, with love and respect. I would always recommend Unblinded with Sean Callaghy, one of our panelists, and I would also recommend Always Good, and I do have an affiliation with both of those businesses, but I have an affiliation with them because I know that they're quality. People are going to be defensive right now. There's no doubt about it. But what I would also say is that I used to reward my no's, not my yeses. So I used to be terrible at cold calling. It was my worst skill of everything I had. And I realized that I was surviving on marketing and advertising, which I was quite good at, and I was bad at cold calling. I didn't like making calls. So I forced myself in between companies to go and work in a call center. In my late 20s, I went and did 6 months selling credit card insurance. Like I went totally cold face in how to do cold calls. Because in outbound cold call centers, they actually have a timer that when you put the phone down from one call, it will literally time down from 5 seconds till it calls again. So you're constantly back on the phone. And I worked out that we got roughly $10 per sale that we did. And after the first 4 weeks, my close rate was 1 in 13. So for every 13 calls I did, I made 1 sale. So if I did 130 calls, I would get 10 sales. Yeah, makes sense. Pretty much, I think that's pretty explanatory. So what I used to do was, and I can't do the math off the top of my head, but I used to pay myself I used to pay myself 80 cents per call that I did. So I would go home at the end of the night and I would go, right, I did, let's keep my numbers simple. It wasn't this convenient, but let's say I did 50 calls on a shift. I would transfer $40 from my savings account in the UK. I think it's checking in the States, isn't it?
Yes.
So I would transfer $40 from my savings account to my checking account. So let's just walk through this again. If I know that I make $10 per sale and I sell one, if I do 13 calls, I will sell 13 calls, I will make one sale, which means if I do 130 calls, I will make 10 sales. So if $10 a sale and a 1 in 13 ratio, that means roughly 80 cents times by the 13 equals my $10. Does that make sense? Right, which means that my call value to me is 80 cents. If I pick up the phone 13 times, I will get a $10 sale. i.e., for every time I pick up the phone, it's worth 1/13 of the $10, which is 80 cents. And all this stupid game is about is stop paying attention to the yes. Right? People are so quick in sales to pay attention to the yeses. Don't do that. Just refine your process and pay attention to the quantity of calls you do, the quantity of outreach. If you know you're going to sell 1 in 5 people, that also means you know you're not going to sell 4 in 5.
And it goes back to the theme that we have this week, which is discipline, consistency.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good job. 1 in 5 won means 4 in 5 lost. So you should celebrate this as much as you celebrate, I don't know what that is, by the way, but I like it. As much as you celebrate this. Celebrate this. Celebrate every time you pick up the phone and they don't buy from you. You go, hi, I'm here to talk to you about da-da-da-da, something, and they go, I'm not interested. You go, fantastic, because I'm now 1 closer to my 1 in 5. Hi, I'd like to talk to you about a new product I'm bringing to market. I don't like it. Okay, thanks very much. Great. Now, please do some better objection handling than I'm currently presenting. But right, so we've just gone through 2, yeah? Hi, I'd like to talk to you about a new product I'm bringing to market specifically aimed at helping you and your family's health. Tell me more, X, Y, Z. No, it's not for me. The price is too much. Okay, thanks very much. Right. 3. Hi, tell me, yeah, I don't like it. Hi, yeah, yeah. Oh, that sounds really interesting. Yeah, okay, yeah, cool. I'll take it. Fantastic. Right. Each of these were crucial in getting us this. You don't get this one without doing those as well. You got to lose sometimes. That's what a good sales guy loses. And this is exactly as you said, it's discipline and resilience that gets you through to the other side of that. Now at the moment, things are going to be harder. There's no doubt about it. You do have to really, really dial into the basics around now. You have to get better at every single part of the process. You have to get better at the script. You have to get better at the call frequency, i.e., you have to make more calls. And by the way, this is my favorite place to see improvements. It is the one factor that is completely under your control, no matter who you are. Right? You do not have to be skilled, talented, You do not have to be a good salesman. You do not have, there's literally no variable in here apart from how hard are you willing to work. Right, so if you want immediate improvements in your business, work harder. Just work harder. Right? The people that are going to kill it right now are the people that are willing to do what it takes. And you should also do it smarter. You should also do it with integrity, etc. But just do one more. If you're going to do 50 calls today, just do 51 or 52 or 53 or 55. If you can get to 60, that's brilliant. That's an extra 20%. Because every time you're picking up the phone, you're stacking the odds in your favor of winning. So you need to get better at the basics. You need to get better at the script. You need to get better at your call frequency. You must get better at your follow-ups. Everybody is terrible with this, myself included. Everybody sucks here, right?
Guilty.
Yeah, it's just we all are. It's just, oh, I've done that. I've done the call. Send the proposal. Send the follow-up. Send the follow-up 3 days later. And then on the 5th day, call them and say, I don't understand, Jess. I have a product that can help you with your health, and you haven't said yes. What do I need to do to persuade you that this is something that's going to work for you? Right? Jess, your brain is currently, because of the way I asked that question, trying to answer the question about a totally made up product that I don't even have. If you say to somebody, what do I need to do to prove this? What do I need to do to show you what I'm talking about? And you say it with absolute conviction, 8 out of 10 people will answer the question for you. And they might say, we just need to see something on the price. Fine, 20%, okay. Nowadays, and again, some people disagree and they say never negotiate on price, but nowadays, do what you need to do to get that thing over the edge.
Yes, I think a lot of people, especially in the industry I was in before, when we're talking about medical and aesthetics, where a lot of my clients I consulted with, they, they're very high, well-known doctors, and they're like, no, I'm not cutting price. I'm not cutting price. Like, well, right now it might be a good idea to do so. We are, the playing field has changed. And however, one of the things that I want to highlight that you've said, Peter, that is really crucial is the frequency. Just do it. Just do it. Focus on your script, of course. Always constant, never-ending improvement, which is what we do here at Hack Mankind too. And then call frequency and follow-ups. And if you need help on discipline, if you need help on really, having the motivation to just get up to go, and you want some hacks on that, we have our support calls right after this call in the next 15 minutes. Every day, we have our angel support calls. And this week's theme is discipline. It is, follow through. So please join us on those calls. I'm conscious of the time, Peter, and we still have one question from.
Let me say one thing before you get to the question, Jess.
Okay, perfect.
Because I have one caveat to that. If you've got to give them a discount, give them a discount. Okay. If you said that this object that you're selling was worth $1,000, and they say, I will buy it for $800, I want you to say yes. Okay, as long as you're still making money, I want you to say yes. However, what we have done here is we have discounted it by $200, okay? So was it worth $1,000 or not? Because if it was worth $1,000, then you should have sold it for $1,000. We're just talking psychology. And if it's not worth $1,000, then you are lying to them when you try to sell it to them for $1,000. So when you discount it from 1,000 to 800 and you give them this 200, it comes with a caveat. And this is really important for your integrity, for your benefit, for your bottom line, for your P&L, right? This is important. I don't care what the caveat is from this perspective. I don't care, because that's what works for you. Maybe it's payment terms. Maybe it's a testimonial. Maybe they agree to a secondary purchase or an extended warranty. So the way this looks, Jess, is I say I'm going to sell this shiny thing to you for $1,000. You say I'll pay $800. and I go, okay, let me think, Jess, I can make that work, but our 30-day payment term would need to be 7 days. Okay.
I totally agree. And one of the questions that brings up, is it the same for services? And the other one, so for like treatments, or if you're doing coaching or whatever it is. And then when you're talking about, is it like, is the value really $1,000 or is it not? Do you consider market value? Like you were saying, the printers were $5,000 and now they're worth $1,000. Like which one do you pick? Do you pick the market value for before, pre-coronavirus or quarantine time?
You stick to the pre, but Jess, let's just do the quick role play. Offer me a shiny widget for $1,000 for a second, and when I ask you for a discount, say yes. Okay.
Okay, what widget?
Anything you want. Tell me. Just say, do you want a widget for $1,000?
I got this shiny, gorgeous notebook. It's got these like sparkles. I think your daughter would love it.
You're
It's
right.
so adorable, and yeah, it's Swarovski's crystals, and and I'm selling it for only $150.
Cool. How about 120?
Yeah, I can do that. But however, I would love to have a picture with your daughter holding it and you, and with a little smiley that we can post on social media. And I want to see like if she likes it, of course, right? If she doesn't like it, we don't want that. But if she likes it, would you be okay sending us a picture? And then I'll be okay doing this.
Awesome. Now go the other way, and now just accept the discount straight away. So, okay, Jess, I'll offer you 120.
Okay.
All right. Well, why not 90 then?
No, that's too low.
Well, you said it was worth 150. Then you said it was worth 120.
Well, you know, considering the circumstances.
No, I'm not willing to buy it for less than 90. Right, here's the problem. If you give something away for free, you're teaching somebody that they can ask you to give it away for less. And if you teach somebody that they can buy it for less, don't be surprised when they then ask for even less. And you will end up going from 150 to 120 to 90 to 0.01 above the mark that you can actually afford to go to. Right? Because you're desperate, you need the money, and I know you need the money, therefore I can do this. But if the first time you do it, you answer with, that's fine, I can do it for 120, but I'm going to need something back from you in return. Because the price of this is 150. So if you want it for 120, that's fine, but I'm going to need to see some kind of testimonial. As long as she likes it, picture, so I can use that for social media so I can go get other customers. Then you've put a price on the discount. do you see what I mean? The discount now has value instead of it just being you giving away money. So do what you need to do in terms of, when I said, you know, if you got to sell it for that, you got to sell it for that, do it. Yes, but do it and establish that this thing here gets purchased with something. I like this whiteboard thing. It's cool, huh?
It's very cool. Can you give us your trick? I'm sure a lot of you, are you using your iPad? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm using an iPad on the second screen.
So you have a different connection that's joined in, so a different caller ID, and then you just, instead of sharing your video on that one, you just share your screen?
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah,
oh, I just said my thing. I love it. Oh.
Love it. No, your thing is, I love that. It's slightly different.
Okay, so I'm doing better. So do we have a quick time for one of our panelists, one of our VIPs questions?
Absolutely.
So one of the question is, how do I establish a new product in the community? For example, a beer from overseas without having a physical proximity to have them taste it.
Whoa, that's an interesting one. I like it. You're going to have to heavily play into video testimonials.
Can they ship samples?
I was about to say social proof. I wouldn't do samples. I would go down the Zappos route personally, because the problem with, so you said beer, and the majority of the price of something like beer is in bottling and in distribution, not in actually the product. So it's an expensive item to ship, right? Because it weighs quite a bit. So I would go for the free return type route instead. So I'd be more tempted to find 5 let's call them exotic beers, and say you can return 3 return free of charge instead of samples. But yeah, you're going to have to do samples, social proof, testimonials, and basically what you're trying to do throughout this stuff here is you're trying to create as much of an emotional experience as you can. It's not going to be an easy one. You need to get people to emotionally invest in it from a distance, which is about videos and people going, oh, it was amazing. It changed my life. I drank that beer and everything's great. So I said, that's not going to be easy, but this stuff here is about risk reduction. You're trying to make this a no-brainer for people. You're trying to say, listen, this is a really simple, you can return it free of charge. You know, we know we're in difficult times. And the number one thing, and this is kind of linked into the whole stuff we're doing with Sean Callaghy and Grant Cardone at the moment, is do this stuff in integrity. Right? You're allowed to say the sentence right now, you know, we know everybody's hurting in these times. So we want to make sure, this is something we've wanted to do for a long time, and we thought about delaying it, but we decided to go ahead with it anyway. But to do that, what we need to do is make sure that you can return it to us if you don't like it. But this social proof is going to be your key thing behind this. Social proof and expert proof. You need to send this to, you're going to have to send it to bloggers, video channels, etc., and really, really push hard to get the name out of there so that you get whoever it is that person is going to respect. You know, in the UK, there's a comedian called the Pub Landlord. And if he was to drink your beer and go, this is the most amazing thing I've ever tried, you can run that video footage for weeks, months of him with his little drink there. See?
I love your little sketches today, Peter.
I mean, you can basically get a Tom Brady or somebody, if you try hard enough, and I think, let's see if we can find this one back to here. Right. All of the tactics that are going to come up nowadays all come back to the importance of this word here. Right. It's all going to be a matter
Hustle.
right. If you and I are running 2 chiropractic companies down the road from each other, and you call 50 and I call 60 today, and tomorrow you call 50 and I call 60, tomorrow you call 50 and I call 60, and you've done that for the last month, I would be 200, 300 calls ahead of you by the end of the month. Right, 300 interactions with a customer by the end of the month, just by doing 10 more every day than you. Now let's pretend that you've done 50 and I've done 100 every day. So across a month, you will have done 1,500 and I will have done 3,000. So I've contacted 1,500 more people than you. So yeah, let's just do that math, and then I've got to get on a call, and I think we've got to free the line for the support call. So you've done 1,500 calls, I've done 3,000 calls, which means I've done 1,500 calls more than you. Let's say that 10% of my customers purchased, which means that 150 of my customers purchased. Let's say it was $80 per session that they purchased at, which means I have out-earned you by 15 times, 150 times 80, 1,500, 1,500 times 8 is 8,000, 16,000 is $12,000. So I've pulled in $12,000 more than you. Just by doing the call volume. Hustle.
Because I'll do more calls than you.
Bring it. Right, I'm going to be running late for my next call. I think I need to free the line for the angel call. So everybody that's just listening to this, I hope there was some value in there. I think that's probably the one you need to focus on.
Yes, I love that. I really appreciate the diagram.
Yeah, but this business, these boxes are really quite useful. Acquire, engage, retain, virility, and then the admin and support. And what I would be pushing people to do is find the 3 or 4 things that they can do in each of these boxes now that can be done without actually selling your product, right? Which they do exist, I promise.
And is it possible to put back the screen so we can say hi? One of the things I wanted to mention as well, if you want to go more in depth in this, you know, we're here every Monday at 11 a.m. But Peter's also putting together on the backstage area a course for you to go in depth for your business. So that's something that we're going to be launching quite soon. I know we still have to talk about that, Peter, in terms of logistics, but that is something definitely happening, and we want you to have access. And I did not talk to Peter about this, but I think for those who are watching this on the backstage area, we should give that promo code again for our VIPs. What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right. Can you type it in the chat?
Yeah, I'm doing it now. Right, so those watching on Facebook, though, thank you very much for joining us. Our free memberships, I'm pretty sure, are going to run out this week. So you need to get to www.hackmankind.com. There's a blue box. Put your email address in, hit the button, and then you're part of everything we do. You get access to backstage, access. So, Jess, I love you too. There's no need to mute me, man. I know I talk too much.
I'm trying to hide the screen. I'm trying for people to see our faces.
I can do that. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Hey.
So thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate it. I've got to get onto another call. Join us at hackmankind.com.
And you'll have access to our support call. So starting right now, our support call. Tune in right now. All right. Love you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow on our next call. And yeah, catch you later. Bye.
Stay safe. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you. Bye.